Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is Wednesday, April 24th, 8:45 a.m. We are back again with another market open. Thank you, everybody, for being with me here today, this morning. Top story of the day. We all know what we got to spend a little bit of time talking about is Tesla. I'm looking at Tesla right now, up 11.4%. Adding about $40 billion in market capitalization to their company this morning because they didn't crush earnings. Objectively, the numbers sucked, and we're going to talk about why the numbers sucked, and pretty much everyone agrees the numbers sucked. But they said what they needed to say to get a company that was down 40% year to date to not go down another 10% year to date, which now in hindsight seems like, yeah, that probably wasn't going to fall another 10%. But here you go. Tesla's up 11%. We'll be discussing that. So we got to talk a lot about that. Number two, Palantir. This Bloomberg article that came out yesterday, I didn't get a chance to read it until this morning. And I think I understand Palantir. And that article made me realize that I don't even understand how much Palantir is doing and how big they could actually be. Shyam Sankar retweeted one of my tweets last night about the article. We got to talk about that. So a lot to get into when it comes to Palantir. And then in the context of the macro, markets moving up, oil is down, 10 years still inching higher. So the 10 years might be telling equities, hey, you can't move this fast, especially because we just had, a nice little 6% pullback last week. And now we're kind of recovering a lot of that. S&P at 505. We'll see how the market performs today. But so far, markets are doing well. Equities are doing well. And that's likely because Tesla performing well is also a little bit of a boost to the market. So thank you, everybody, for being here today. Let's get into the market open. Others Inc., Top Dasher, Sundo Sham, Shannon, Brent, I'm Beneficial, Rick, David, Goldwinger, John Stevens, Katie Baby, Colorblind Collector, Black Circle, Felicia, Walt, Altow, Broccoli Bob, Harvey, Chris, Black Circle, Ray, Brad Appeal, Rich, Laza, Brown Group, Jubei, Sanjay, Garcia, El Tayo, Zaya Film and Photography, Joseph, Harvey, Alex, thank you for the happy birthday, even though it's not my birthday. You guys think you're funny in the chat doing this, but it's not my birthday. Midwest, Lars, Marginal Mystery, Miami, Ren, Lena, Broccoli Bob, Aaron, thank you all for being here this morning. Gene, what's up, man? What's up? Let's get into the market open. Now, before we start, folks, I gotta get something off my chest. Before we get into Tesla, well, this has to do with Tesla, but I'm not muted. Don't say I'm muted. Goodness, you guys give me a panic attack every time I think I'm muted. Like literally my heart drops when I think I'm muted. Like, do you guys remember? I saw Meet Kevin a year ago on mute for 11 minutes, just talking, like doing the most amazing analysis you can imagine for 11 minutes, not looking at the chat. And I had a mess up like that for 2 minutes. So it was a little bit less than Meet Kevin's a year ago. And ever since then, I've been triggered. So don't say that in the chat. All right. So before we get started with Tesla earnings, thank you, everybody, for being here. Hope you guys are having a good morning. I just want to start off with a little bit of a soliloquy. It's a good word, dude. You didn't expect that one this morning. I think on this planet it is very difficult to make money. Okay. It's not an easy thing to make money. Like it's really hard to make money. And to make money, you have to have a certain percentage return on the initial capital you put in, whether it's that capital is your time at a job or you're actually making an investment in real estate stocks, whatever it may be, to be able to get a greater percentage return on that initial capital you put in order to make money. Making money is not easy. And not only is making money not easy, making a decent percentage return, 10, 20, 30%, that is also, the S&P barely does 8% a year. That is not easy when it comes to making money. It's just not easy to get a good percentage return. However, if you are a different breed, meaning you were breeded, if that's a word, in a different way, like the sperm you once were ended up beating all the other sperm that was flying to try to get into that egg. And that sperm was a different breed of sperm than all the other sperm. Then you know how to make money. Then you really know how to make money. And I really don't like being cocky. I don't like being arrogant. You guys know I don't brag. I don't do that stuff. But I'm a different breed. Okay. I'm a different breed. I am up 755% in 2 hours. Okay. I'm up 755% in 2 hours. And so when you're a different breed, you understand how to make money in a significantly different way than the rest of the world. And I think that, the results speak for themselves. I don't have to talk about it. I can just show you right now. This is not a fake screenshot. This is a screenshot I took last night at 6 p.m. As a result of being a different breed. And I was up 755% in 2 hours. And so when you're a different breed, I think you just got to, take a moment to realize that you are a different breed and you deserve to get the respect that you get when you're a different breed. All right, I'm just kidding. This is just fun. Okay, so what am I doing here before we get into Tesla earnings? I bought some stupid call options on Tesla because everyone was just being way too bearish at like 3:59 p.m. When did I buy this? Dude, I bought this at 2:56. So I bought this an hour before earnings. I bought 2 Tesla $185 calls expiring on Friday. Okay, $30. I said, you know what? Screw it. If I lose the 30, I lose the 30. But these bears are getting too confident betting against Mr. Elon freaking Musk. And to my chagrin, I don't even know what that word means, but I think I'm using it correctly. To my chagrin, to my surprise, the Tesla goes up. Tesla goes up. It goes up. It was 161. Right now it's at 160. It's up 12% in a day. And because Tesla has gone up, obviously those calls are going to print. Now, what I was informed by my good friend right here, he has a great Twitter account, Coach Mac. Hate to break it to you, Amit. If Tesla opens at 160 tomorrow, which Tesla right now is at 160, this option will be a loss because there's something called IV crush, which I'm going to get to learn about today intimately, which means if Tesla's not closer to 175, this option won't be profitable because the gap between 160 and 185 is too large. So although I was up 755% on the simulator returns on Robinhood last night, most likely I am not going to be up any money, which means I'm probably not a different breed when it comes to making money. Now, if somehow I get these contracts to fill, and we'll see at 9:30 where these contracts fill, I will give away all the money. So theoretically, if I can get them to fill at that 755% or even 400%, I'll make like $150 and we'll give away $10, $20 Amazon gift cards. We'll do something in the chat. So I'll give it all away. But the question is going to be, can we get these options to fill? And if Tesla can rise to 175, maybe we wait. Maybe we don't sell it immediately. Maybe we see if there's a pump throughout the day. If there's not, then we lose the $30. If there is a pump, we're going to 20x $30 in 30 hours. And maybe I will get the recognition I deserve to be recognized as when it comes to a different breed. Rich says, why would you buy 185 call? I would have bought something closer. The thing is, the 160s were like $180. And I was like, I don't want to waste $180, dude. Like, I'm fine wasting $30 and lighting it on fire. By the way, I thought Tesla was going to go down to 130 last night. So and you guys all know this, I publicly was very bearish on this earnings. I did not think the earnings would go well. So it was much to my chagrin that Tesla went up 10% and maybe pumps a little bit more. But I didn't expect it. That's why I bought 185. I didn't think it would happen. And maybe it doesn't happen. I have till Friday till it expires. We'll see what ends up happening. But right now, Tesla is up, and they are up for a decent reason, even though the numbers weren't the worst. So I'll keep you guys updated at 9:30 on how those options perform. Okay, so let's talk about the actual earnings. So let me give my high level thoughts, and then we'll go deeper into the numbers. High level, the numbers were bad. Operating margins are down 11 or 6% year over year, 600 basis points, 592 basis points. Revenue, there was a miss. EPS, there was a miss. Gross profits was a miss. Gross margins was a miss. They are burning $2.5 billion every single quarter. In 10 quarters, the company could theoretically go bankrupt. That's not going to happen, but like there is a decent amount of burn that's going on right there. And margins and deliveries, margins went down and deliveries don't look like they're going to significantly improve. However, having said all of that, which, yeah, all of that is bad. And all of that probably warrants a red day versus a green day if you had to bet. Anyone who sold Tesla at 140 must be a little angry right now. And the reason they're angry, Derek owes you a stock certificate. Dude, he literally bought it last night. So me and Derek had a bet that if Tesla ends up green, he has to buy me a stock. If it ends up red, I have to buy him a stock, but a physical stock. So he bought it last night, and I will show you guys in like a week what it looks like. It's like a framed Tesla share. I will never not be a Tesla shareholder because of that share. So this is the one paragraph that saved the company. And I think pretty much everyone would agree with me here. So let me read this. We have updated our future vehicle lineup to accelerate the launch of new models ahead of our previously communicated start of production in the second half of 2025. What does that mean? They were going to launch in H2 2025, so June 2025. Now they're saying they're going to launch by the end of this year or early next year, which is 6 months ahead. If you believe them on that timeline, and then you believe in the whole autonomy stuff, and we'll talk about what Elon said about that, then they're going to eventually start growing faster than what the street thought. That's basically what they're saying right here, even if the numbers don't show it yet. And the street obviously is forward looking. Stock's already down 40% year to date. Boom, stock goes up. You're like, all right, well, this thing's not going to get any lower. let's buy up the stock. These new vehicles, including more affordable vehicles, will utilize aspects of the next generation platform as well as aspects of our current platforms and will be able to produce on the same manufacturing lines as our current vehicle. This update may result in achieving less cost reduction than previously expected, but would enable us to prudently grow our vehicle volumes in a more capex efficient manner. This would help us fully utilize our current expected maximum capacity of close to 3 million vehicles, enabling more than 50% growth over 2023 production before investing in new manufacturing lines. Our purpose-built robotaxi product will continue to pursue a revolutionary unboxed manufacturing strategy. By the way, Elon called the new robotaxi product the Cyber Cab, which is a hell of a name, dude. It's a hell of a name for this product. And as a result of everything Elon said last night on the call, that is why this bad boy is up 11%. Now, I am curious if when the market opens, do we have shorts that cover? Because I'm sure people were shorting the crap out of Tesla as soon as over the past week going into earnings, because everyone thought this earnings would go bad. I don't know a single Tesla bull, like even the biggest bulls that thought this earnings would be good. They were getting ready to brace themselves. And Elon kind of saved the day. And again, the way he saved the day was simply by not doing anything that crazy. He just explained that at the end of the day, this is our vision. And sometimes, investors are like babies. They just need to be pampered a little bit. He was just like reminding investors, this is the vision. This is why you invested. And that's why, if you believe in that vision, you should be continuing to invest in us. The explanation for the numbers being bad were the arson attack in Berlin, the factory shut down because of the Red Sea. And overall, and I didn't expect this, but overall, well, I expected this because we've been hearing, mumbles about it from a macro perspective, but I didn't know Tesla would address it that directly. They're saying consumers are buying hybrids over EVs. And 3 years ago, I don't think any Tesla investor expected hybrids to be like the new way that people consume or people want to engage with electric vehicles versus the actual EV themselves. But that is Tesla acknowledging that is a big deal. That is a pretty big thing Tesla saying that, hey, if hybrids are getting more popularity, then we're going to struggle with sales. So all of that to say, Q1 might have bottomed when it comes to the disruptions of not only their supply chain, but of their ability to execute against deliveries. They are producing 1,000 Cybertrucks a week. Absolutely incredible. And so as a result of that, Q2, we might see an uptick. And again, the stock market's funny. It's like, if you're not as bad as you were before, then you're going to be better in the future. So we'll buy your shares. Tesla stock is already down at this point 30% year to date. It was down 40% year to date. Still a significant haircut. And so to a lot of investors, given the growth prospects that Elon laid out, it might end up being cheap at this point, given what the growth will come for. Blake says, I guess Kathy was right about timing. And yes, and I've said this for a long time. Kathy understands Tesla better than everybody else. Kathy was selling Tesla at 270, 280, if you remember, in July of 2023. I mean, she has phenomenal timing on this one stock. Everything else is a little iffy, but this one stock she understands better than everybody else. So she sold not a lot, but a decent amount at the top. And she bought 23,000 shares yesterday. She bought like $30 million of shares over the past 2 weeks. She's up handsomely on those shares, which is why ARK is up 2%. That should make up for some of the other issues in the fund, at least with Tesla. The question becomes, is this pump fake? Or, as Mario says in the chat, is this a bull trap? And I cannot put it out of the rear view to say that this can be a bull trap. Now, the odds of it being a bull trap are a little low, in my opinion, simply because the stock was sold off so aggressively and Elon reaffirmed their vision. And again, Elon just didn't say kumbaya. What Elon said, let me share this again, is that they are starting production on the next generation platform earlier than expected. That one sentence, they could have put out that one sentence and earnings would be done. That's it. That's all they needed to do. That one sentence is what mattered. That's it. So from that perspective, if the street believes that he is correct, that they've accelerated their launch earlier, and he's not lying about this, and I don't mean lying, but I mean he's not that's not going to happen, right? They're saying one thing. If that doesn't happen, then I think this is going to be bad. But if they're saying this thing and it's true and it's going to happen earlier than expected, maybe this isn't a bull trap because maybe they are going to get closer to what they need to do. And so that's why I think it might not be a bull trap. The reason it could be a bull trap is because we still haven't had a 10% correction in the S&P. And I'm assuming if inflation comes in bad next month, oil is coming down, so that's helping. But if shelter doesn't come down, CPI is still not going to be amazing. Maybe if CPI is not that bad, inflation is not that big of a concern because the Fed knows eventually it's going to come down. But if inflation is still sticky, maybe we have a 10% correction just to have a 10% correction, even though we just had a 6% pullback, and that's when Tesla comes down. However, if Tesla rallies to 170 and we have a 10% correction, maybe it only goes to 155. If we had a 10% correction while Tesla was 144, we were going to 120, but it doesn't seem like that's necessarily happening. Elon doesn't lie. His timing is just a little off. Yes, that is also true. Now, one of the other things he said in the earnings call that I think was really interesting for everyone to remember is that FSD. He said if you haven't driven in 12.3, you don't understand the company. And I think that question or that argument that he made on the earnings call is also a reason why people are excited, because basically Elon is staking the company on FSD. And when someone says, hey, if you have not driven this, or if you have not been driven in a car with FSD or tried it yourself, you can't properly invest in Tesla. He's basically signaling, guys, it's really good. And like, I know I've said it's really good for the past 7 years, but you guys knew during that time I was like trying to hype you up. Now it's like, I'm saying go drive it. I wouldn't have said go drive it in 2017, because if you drove it, first of all, it wasn't even that advanced. Second of all, if you drove it, you probably would have gone into a crash, right? But now I am saying go test out the product and then tell me if you think this is not going to be one of the most amazing companies in the next 10 years. And as a result of that, I think the investment thesis is simple. The investment thesis is like literally FSD. That's it. Which means if you are betting on Tesla, if you're buying options, if you are buying leaps, if you're buying shares, the only 3 letters that matter in this investment thesis, like quite literally the deliveries bar, all that is short-term noise. Does FSD get solved relatively soon? If it does, the investment has a chance to be a massive success, already more so than it has been for early shareholders from the 2010 era. If not, then it's gonna be dead money. Or we're gonna have to see. Have you tested route version 12? I haven't, but me and Jose is my friend that I do the semiconductor podcast with every Thursday. He invited me. He's actually in New Jersey, and we're gonna meet up eventually, probably like the next month, and I'm gonna try it out in his car, and I'll record that as well. So I want to get an experience of what it feels like to do it, and if it really is that amazing, maybe that changes my perspective a little bit more on Tesla. Zocold says Mercedes is releasing a G-Wagon EV for $180K. Yeah, I saw this news this morning. If you're rich, you might buy that, but most people are not going to spend $180,000 on this, right? So another thing is just the competition. Elon was asked about it yesterday, and he said, look, they don't have the proprietary data advantage that we have. As Martin says right here, another positive was Elon said they have been approached by a large auto looking to license FSD. I think every large auto manufacturer is eventually going to look to license FSD. FSD just has to be that good. And if it gets that good, then it's going to be exciting. Adam says, how exactly is the regulation going to be fast-tracked and not take a decade? Okay, so the regulation thing, I've changed my perspective on this, and I changed it about like 2 weeks ago. I said this on the stream. I used to be a big regulation bear. Now I'm like, dude, if they solve the problem, regulation will catch up. Like at the end of the day, regulation is not what stops innovators from innovating, right? Like regulation tried to stop Uber, and then Uber just became Uber. Right? Because Uber is Uber. It was just better. Consumers wanted it. If consumers in Vegas and Francisco and in Austin and these like pilot cities want in Dubai, right, that might not have as many regulatory hurdles, if they want Tesla, FSD, robotaxis, then regulations will capitulate. It's just that simple. So to me, regulation depends on FSD being that good. And if FSD really is that good, then it's going to be exciting. Real quick, I just want to go through some of these numbers and then we'll move on from Tesla. Let me know in the chat how people thought about the earnings as well. And did you think those earnings were good earnings or bad earnings? We'll talk about Meta earnings as well in a little bit. We'll do a preview on that. And I'll be live after hours today. And I think Meta is going to crush it. So we'll talk a little bit more about Meta. So here's some of the numbers I want to go through. Year-over-year revenue growth down 13%. Or sorry, total revenue down 9%, automotive down 13%. So they did 21 billion versus 25 billion last quarter. They did 23 billion last year. So that's bad. Total gross profit down 18%. That's bad. Total gross margins down 200 basis points. That's bad, right? 17.6 to 17.4. Margins have not bottomed. They also just cut prices in EU, China, and the US. So that's likely potentially going to go lower. Even their cost of goods went down. So that was a good thing, which helped on the margins. But if they lower the prices across the world, I don't know if that's going to necessarily make the margins go better. Operating margins down 6%, 592 basis points, went from 11% to 5.5%. That's not good. And the reason I'm showing you all these numbers and just going through them is because I want to kind of make the point that the call was good. The numbers sucked. Like these are just not good numbers. Operating margins, gross profit, revenues, everything's down. Now, energy went up 7%. Services, that's the supercharger network, that was up 25%. And superchargers in general are up 26%, which is great. But overall, those numbers are not something that I think a Goldman Sachs would be like, yeah, let's invest $100 million today. Like those are bad numbers that are probably going to get worse given the headwinds because of EV demand. Right here in the beginning of the deck, Tesla says here, global EV sales continue to be under pressure as many car makers prioritize hybrids over EVs. While positive for our regulatory credits business, we prefer the industry to continue pushing EV adoption, which is in line with our mission. To support our growth, we have been increasing awareness and expanding vehicle financing programs, which includes attractive leasing terms. So they're basically saying, hey, we're going to start advertising more, trying to get people to understand the product. But overall demand, the like, you can't get a Tesla for like 7 weeks until it comes to your door because there's so much demand, there's so much backlog. That's gone. The demand is like the way it was 3 years ago. That's just not the case. And so numbers were bad, call was good. And sometimes when a stock is down 40% year to date, even if the numbers are bad, the call can be good and the market can get excited, especially if it's sold off year to date. So that's what we have on Tesla. Now, Dan Ives, what did he say? I was actually surprised Dan Ives put this out, even though it does make sense. So Dan Ives says, in a much needed call, Musk stepped up as the adult in the room and laid the foundation for Tesla's growth strategy. Most importantly, a lower cost vehicle slated for 2025 production and delivery. We believe the next wave of the growth story and autonomy vision is key. Now, his price target, what Dan leaves out, is that he lowered the price target from 300 to 275. People who don't know his price target might think, oh my God, 275 is so much greater than 140. So like he's bullish, but his price target 1 week ago was 300. So it's not a downgrade because they have a buy rating on the stock, but it is it's lowering the goalpost in terms of where the stock can go. So it's not necessarily bearish. But if you read between the lines, even Dan is acknowledging, which is why I'm saying maybe there's a slight possibility this is a bull trap. Dan is acknowledging, look, the numbers fucking sucked, dude. These were not good numbers. And unless Elon acted like an adult, which to his credit, he absolutely acted like an adult. He answered the questions he needed to answer for the street in the right way. And we didn't have any people saying Optimus wasn't useful. They actually said some good stuff about Optimus. We'll talk about that in a second. That saved the stock. But this stock should not be worth $300 and the price target is down. So 275, usually these are 1 year price targets for those that are asking. So basically in a year, which, I mean, a year from now, Tesla 275 is not crazy to assume if they figure out FSD, but we'll see how it plays out. But that's what Dan Ives said. So Tesla right now up 12%. Dan is excited by the call. Gary Black as well. I was reading his report. He was really happy about the call, right? He thought the call went really well. He thought the numbers were not amazing, but he thought that Elon addressed the reason. Like at the end of the day, I know Gary, sometimes is seen as a hater. And he took a very premature victory lap at $140, in my opinion. He was just saying this is the worst stock in the world. We were right for selling everything. He is reasonable and logical. And after you listen to that call, even though you can logically accept the numbers suck, you can reasonably understand why the market's excited this morning and they were excited after hours because things should improve. And if the stock market is forward-looking, then from a forward-looking perspective, people will end up buying the stock. Meet Kevin said that was Tesla's worst earnings in 3 years. He's right. On the numbers, he's right. But what Meet Kevin is wrong about, if he is super bearish and he thinks the stock should be down, is that the stock was down 40% already. And that Elon actually answered questions. Elon was not standing there like stuttering over his words or dodging questions. He was rambling. He pretty much said what he needed to say. And as a result, the market got excited and they believe in his vision. You could say he was pumping. I don't think he was really pumping. There's only one part where I thought he was pumping on a little bit, which is Optimus, which we'll talk about in a second. But in general, he flat out said, either you believe in FSD or you don't. We believe in it. Therefore, we are bullish. And the street's like, all right, Elon, if you believe in it, we believe in it. And so we're going to buy the stock. Now on Optimus, maybe he's not pumping, but he definitely did say, Optimus may be more valuable than everything else combined, and we may be able to sell it externally by the end of next year. We have not gotten an update on Optimus. You guys know I'm definitely bullish on humanoid robotics. I think they are the future. I think there is going to be trillions of dollars of wealth created by these robots. But we haven't gotten an update from the company, and maybe we haven't gotten an update because they're scared to put out any updates because they want it to be proprietary to them. That might be a legitimate reason, right? They don't want people to steal their ideas or their videos, whatever it may be. So if he's right, that they can sell Optimus by the end of next year, that means 4 quarters from now, they're going to book revenue on Optimus. And maybe it's $200 million. Maybe it's nothing special. But if that business starts growing, This is like where the ETF component of Tesla gets so excited that there's multiple parts of the business. We're not going to go through the entire Optimus thesis. If you understand Optimus, then you understand the market opportunity is absolutely gigantic. That's why I believe Elon when he says it may be more important than or valuable than everything else combined. However, the timeline again is in the question. Is it going to happen by 2025? And if it does happen, this thing's going to get really exciting. If it doesn't happen, which as Vitaly says, scaling matters, and scaling Optimus is not going to necessarily be easy. Then we might have to wait a little bit longer. The cool thing about Optimus is if they can get it to work, Tesla already has the vertical integrations to start building. They build cars, they can build robots. The hard part is getting it to work. That's the advantage they have over Figure, the advantage they have over Apptronic. These are other robotic companies. Tesla has a whole supply chain built and ready to go, right? Like they can start getting people to build these robots relatively quickly if the robot works. The hard part is getting the robot to work. And that's where I think, Figure, Apptronic, Tesla, Boston Dynamics, all these guys are at it. Like, can we get our robot to work before Tesla's Optimus or before, Apptronics or Boston Dynamics? Because if we get it to work, we're going to get all the clients. And now I think clients are going to use a lot of different robots. I think it's going to be a very big space. But whoever gets it first ultimately is going to have the advantage to get to market first as well. And again, I'm talking about Optimus not from the consumer's perspective. When I say I'm bullish Optimus, don't think I'm bullish that I think people will buy the $25,000 robot and it'll do their dishes. I think that's 10 years away, and I don't even care about that. I care about Mercedes or BMW replacing workers with robots. That, I think, is happening this decade. And if that happens this decade, Tesla's going to have a massive, massive business pretty soon. And it's going to be very exciting. It's going to be very exciting when that does happen. This Nikunj asks a really good question in the chat. Is anyone buying Tesla today? Yeah, put it in the chat. Who's aping into Tesla? Who's violating the 3-day rule on Tesla today? And who's actually buying? I don't have to buy Tesla today. I don't have to do it. And the reason I don't have to do it and I don't have to buy Tesla today is because I'm a different breed. And when you're the type of person that I am, when you end up buying call options, when you're derivative, and when you're up 700% in 2 hours, you don't need to buy the day that everyone else is buying because you bought before people were buying. You took the risk before people took the risk, and you don't need to worry about aping in because you already aped in the day before. So it is what it is, dude. I told y'all I was derivative. People are like, oh, you don't call yourself derivative anymore. I don't want to be cocky. I'm a humble guy. I'm a humble dude. I don't want to call myself derivative and rub it in everyone's faces that I'm derivative. But sometimes when you get 700% in 700% in 2 fucking hours, are you kidding me? If this is not derivative, I don't know what derivative is, dude. That's my alter ego at this point. And sometimes you got to just flex the alter ego. It is what it is. It is what it is. We'll see if this option is profitable at all this morning, dude. I'm really excited because I do think it could pump a little. I think it could pump another 5% today. I think we can pump. If we get a sell-off, that's gonna be ugly. But if we can pump, those options hopefully are worth it. And again, I'm giving away all the gains on this stream if we can get it to pump. Okay, so that is the Tesla. That is the Tesla preview. The Tesla recap. That's pretty much it for me. If you guys have any questions, let me know about Tesla. We'll probably talk more about it. We'll listen to Dan and Ross Gerber go at it after the market open. We'll hear what they have to say. But in general, they killed it on the call, sucked on the numbers. The future seems to be Tesla. As long as the markets hold up, and maybe Tesla's a little bit boost to the market because Tesla was the black sheep all year as the S&P was going higher. Now maybe Tesla kind of helps the entire market go up as they go up as well. Maybe this is going to be a very, very good rest of the year for Tesla. And we'll keep it going from there. Last thing I'll say on my derivative situation that I've got going on this morning. Vince says, good job, but $30 is $30. See, the reason people don't understand what it means to make money is that even if it's 700% on $30, it's not about the money. It's not about the money. It's like the money is irrelevant, okay? It's not about the money. What it's truly about is the thrill and the hunt for the gains. That's what it is. That's what it is. So this transitions us into the Palantir topic. I got a text from a friend. You guys probably all know the friend. I can't believe Steve texted me this. He texted me, what's your number to sell Palantir? He texted me on Saturday. And I sent him this Joker meme that it's not about the money. So it's not about making 700% on $30. It's about, motherfucker, I made 700% in 2 fucking hours. That's what it's about, the thrill. Okay, it could have been 30 cents. It's the thrill. So it's not about the money. Now, this meme This meme transition to Vince. I'm just kidding with you. I'm just fucking with you, man. But we'll see if the option is profitable. At the end of the day, it was a stupid YOLO bet because I thought Tesla was going to tank, but Elon saved on the call. Now, this meme transitions us into Palantir. Why does it transition us into Palantir? I got a retweet yesterday by Shyam Sankar. And what he retweeted was me talking about the boot camps article that Bloomberg put out. That boot camp was that boot camps article that Bloomberg put out was a really good article, and I finally got to read it this morning. And because I read it this morning, I understand why Shyam Sankar actually retweeted what I said. Because last night I was too sleepy, I didn't even really understand what Shyam was saying. But this morning I had a better glimpse of what he was saying. Here's 3 paragraphs from the article. Okay, I'm gonna read these 3 paragraphs, and the preview before I read this is I thought I understand Palantir, and even I was speechless after reading this, okay? So let's read this right here. Analysts are skeptical, with some saying there's good reason software companies have employed troops of salespeople to ensure the products are being understood and adopted properly. They say with the bootcamp method, it's easier to get it up and running, says Rishi, who has a $5 price ticket on Palantir from RBC. That is a very complex software. Rishi's concluding selling the software through bootcamps is a pipe dream. Rishi says selling the software through bootcamps is a pipe dream. Palantir might just end up being the plumber. Asked about analyst resistance to the company's sales strategy, Kowalski, who is the global head of Palantir's business development, rejected the idea of hiring a large sales force for both cultural and logistical regions. We can't target linear growth, he said. The demand is exponential. By exponential, he means that some customers who attend a Palantir bootcamp can turn around and host their own events for their own customers, in theory, allowing the model to proliferate indefinitely. For example, JD Power executive Doug Betts said his company will soon put on events for its clients, showing off that the software is valuable and it's going to teach people how to do it as well. Why is this such an important part from this article? To me, Palantir can't just hire 500 salespeople and ask them to make 50 calls a day. You could grow like that, but that's not really a way to sell Palantir software, right? Their software is a lot more advanced. You got to actually sell the software. And it would not capture the totality of demand that they're seeing from clients. They're doing 5 boot camps a day, as per this article, which is about 500 boot camps in the past in the past 100 days. These clients want AI and they want to see it in action, so boot camps are the best way to sell. However, the part that blew me away is the part that I just read. Some customers who attend Palantir boot camps can then turn around and host their own boot camps for their own customers, which means new people get to access Palantir. They get to learn what it is. So, for example, if you're you're an automotive company and you show a boot camp to your nuts and bolts for your doors supply chain vendors, right? Maybe you have 5 different vendors that you get nuts and bolts from. And you're like, hey guys, your supply chain is not that efficient. We're using Palantir's AIP and Foundry. Can I show you guys a little bit on how to use it? Because if you guys use it, my life will get better. We'll all be more effective. And you do a boot camp for them. And if they do a boot camp, they're like, all right, we're going to get onto Palantir. And then they join Palantir. The company that could not sell 2 years ago has turned their go-to-market strategy into a network effect. Exactly. Train the trainer approach. And so this idea that they've essentially been able to build a network effect rooted inside the very fabric of how they sell to the enterprise. To me, I don't see another company on the stock market that has turned a weakness, which was selling, self-admitted by Karp himself. We don't know how to sell. I was there at that earnings call. I remember when he said it, and I remember the stock going down as soon as he said it. That to me is, dare I say, now a proprietary moat. What is a moat? It's something that's hard to replicate from a company because of how hard it is to copy and scale software boot camps in the enterprise. To me, I am starting to become, and I've been, but when you read these articles, it makes you just remember, I'm just so long this company that if someone asks if I'm selling at a measly $30, if it pumps after earnings of $30, I'm going to ask them if they're high on the certain white substance Karp has been talking about. Because look, I know we went from 27 to 20, and some people might be thinking, oh man, I should have sold at 27. That's not the way to think about Palantir, dude. I just don't think that's the way to think about Palantir. Not for this company. Not for this company. There's other ways to think about other companies, like, oh, I should have sold earlier, blah, blah, blah. This stock, this company, this industry, this approach to freaking show people the product, say, hey, if it's working, go to your boss. If he wants it, we'll give you 6 months for free. And then if you don't want it, then no problem. We're not going to charge you any money. To be that forthcoming about selling and doing 5 of those a day. I mean, if Palantir just takes that $4 billion in cash and just dumps it into boot camps, how big can this grow? I dare I say would even not mind if they are unprofitable for another couple quarters. I know that's not going to happen, but if they really came up to investors and said, hey, we're going to take this $4 billion that we have in treasuries, we really think there's an opportunity to go for this boot camp thing and take the entire market. We're not going to be profitable because we're not going to get net interest income, but we're going to massively grow. If they start growing at 30-35% year over year instead of like 19%, in a heartbeat, I would say, or if I had to vote on that as a shareholder, I would be like, take that damn money out of those treasuries and put it into marketing, because that is way more valuable than some net interest income just to, prove you're profitable. So I think this is an amazing strategy. Let's see how the numbers turn out. Now, Shyam Sankar's retweet. Shyam, this is the first time he's retweeted me. I know he knows my account. He's seen my content before. This is what compelled him to retweet me. And the reason I think it compelled him to share this tweet is because he says after a boot camp, an engineer at a customer was so pumped that he built 85% of an AIP app on Friday night. This is a Slack message from an engineer at Anduril who basically built an application using AIP to auto-generate documentation. When someone asked, did they do this today or since Friday, the person said he did 85% of this on Friday using Palantir's AIP, and he troubleshooted the final 15% over the weekend. The reason it's interesting that Shyam retweeted me, Shyam could have tweeted this without having to quote tweet me, right? He didn't have to do that. I think Shyam is trying to signal to the market that Q1's going to be good. Now, look, I'm not saying Q1's going to be so fucking fantastic that it's going to be an NVIDIA quarter. But Bloomberg, 2 weeks before Q1, puts out this expose about boot camps. And by the way, Palantir has to work with Bloomberg, right? When you're a Bloomberg, a CNBC, a Wall Street Journal, and you're doing a really an investigative journal piece on Palantir or any company, you ask for quotes and the company gives you some insight into the company, right? So they're helping you make the article, especially if they know there's going to be a lot of distribution on the article. And so, that's what Robinhood did with me with this gold event, right? They invited me to the event. The whole idea is to work with the media when you know you're doing something good, when you're in the right direction. And the Bloomberg article comes out, and then Shyam's retweeting me talking about Palantir. I think they're trying to signal to the market, Q1, you guys don't understand the growth. I even said in that tweet that he retweeted, I don't think the street believes the growth is priced in. That's another reason I was surprised Shyam tweeted me, because they try to stay away from anything about the stock because you know them, the regulatory lawyers, blah, blah, all this stupid shit. I said right here, I talked about the street. I said the street is not pricing in the growth. Shyam quote tweeted that. His lawyers probably might not. They're oh, Amit's talking about the street. You can't do that. Shyam said, fuck it. We're quote tweeting this and we're telling everybody why boot camps are so amazing. So I don't want to read too much into it. I'm not trying to be conspiratorial here. I'm just saying because of the timing of all this before Q1, I think the numbers will be good even if Q1 tanks. And I think even if the numbers aren't NVIDIA numbers, over the next few quarters, we're going to get that moment. It's just a question of when that happens. And when it happens, we'll see what happens. But it's going to be super exciting to see how that plays out. And I think it will be fun to kind of see how it goes. Palantir, the only company in bit has a long-term. Dude, it's fucking Palantir. At the end of the day, it's Palantir. This is really the one company I have a long-term mindset about. This is the one company where I'm I don't want to sell these shares until I die. When we're up 20x on the shares and where, the wife's oh, can we get a new house? I'm no, sorry, sweetie. She's oh, well, we're up 2,000% on your Palantir. So I was no, sweetie, I bought this in 2021, 2022, 2024. We have another 20x to go. What are you talking about, baby? I'm sorry. I know you want a new house, but I could do some Tesla options in 5 days and make you some money. I could make 700% on those, but I am not selling this damn Palantir. We're not doing it, baby. We are not fucking doing it. Benny says we need to get below 20 for a lot of people to start buying. I agree. We do need to get below 20 for there to be a lot of buying, but if Q1 is amazing, then maybe we will have a lot more of a buy. So we'll see how that plays out. Palantir right now, where is Palantir? Palantir 21.64. They're up 2% after hours as well, or in the pre-market, $22. So not bad at all that they're up 2%. We'll see if this pump lasts. Obviously, the whole market's pumping right now, so not sure if it's going to last, but it is up. Tesla's up, pumping the market as well, which makes it exciting as well in the context of Palantir. Joe says $15 to $17. I think it could get there if the market again is a 10% pullback. I just think it's hard because the demand is there, and that demand being there makes it harder for me to see Palantir, getting to that bad of a level. Okay, we got 6 minutes until the market open. Let's listen to Dan Ives and Ross Gerber and their perspective on Tesla and what they had to say, and then we will market open. We still got a lot to talk about. We got Meta, we have Apple updates, we have Bitcoin updates. So let's see. Let's talk a little bit more about Tesla, and then we will go from there as the market opens in about 6 minutes. Here we go.
Polite I said less than optimal, maybe less than Optimus is what I should have said. Phil kind of laid it out. What was your biggest takeaway for the quarter?
Tesla needed an adult in the room, and Musk was the adult in the room on this conference call. The big thing, the most important thing is that they are not going just straight to autonomy. A Model 2, a sub 30K vehicle will be out, and that's accelerated. And that's music to the ears of the street. You went in, investors were expecting a disaster and another comedy show conference call. Instead, you actually have a pilot on the plane navigating, and it's not Ted Stryker.
Nice airplane reference. Ted Stryker? Ross, what was your biggest takeaway from the quarter?
I had to look that guy up, dude. I don't know who the hell Ted Stryker was, but he was in some movie, so now I get the reference.
From the guidance, anything that, I mean, investors like it, but the stock has, I don't need to tell you, has been in a rut the last number of months.
Yeah, I agree with Dan. Elon did a, Tesla, what I call Tesla Elon, which is the Elon that people like in this call, which was definitely necessary. And he certainly didn't poo-poo the idea of having a $25,000 or less model, which is irrelevant of the financial deterioration of the overall fundamentals of the company. So I think if you look at Tesla, like robots and robot cars, and obviously thinking that this is going to happen in 12 months is probably a little bit aggressive. And we all know that Elon's timelines are usually 3 to 4 years aggressive. But that said, that vision long-term is wonderful. It's just the transition to this and what it will look like financially. It seems for sure that shareholders will be sacrificed for mass adoption of EV vehicles. So profits and margins that we expected on Tesla will continue to probably go lower, even though volumes might go higher.
Ross, back to you, because you posted something on the Elon Musk-owned X today, and you said, here's the problem. The problem is that Tesla is not making money selling cars anymore. Right. Now, I'm going to ask an insane question, because that's what we do. Why not, right? Which is, do they need to make money selling cars? And hear me out. Number one, you got all the credits, okay, selling those. But GM and Ford, they need to make money selling cars because that's what they do. And if they didn't do that, then there is no GM and Ford. Tesla is not them. They've got the AI infrastructure. They've got the Optimus robots. They got the robo-taxis. They got all the other stuff coming. Is there a, quote, razor blade model on the Tesla automotive side where they can sell cars at cost and still make billions, or no?
No. And I look at it as like the Apple model. Apple purposely doesn't give away phones, even though they make a ton on services. And if you look at Tesla's services revenue was up 25%. So it's a very similar model, but should Apple just give away iPhones to make sure that everybody has an iPhone versus making the 40% margins and being one of the most valuable companies in the world? So once again, as long as Tesla shareholders are fine with a much less profitable version of the company, then this vision works fine. But I think, there's a difference between owning a Tesla and buying a Tesla and being a shareholder.
I disagree with Ross in terms of what he's talking about, saying that this is not important. I mean, because I could argue Tesla over the coming years could be one of the biggest AI companies out there. And look, for Musk.
Yeah, but Elon said he's not going to build it unless he has 25%. That's the problem.
Yeah, but again, if you look at this conference call and how he laid out the vision, Ross, and obviously all the criticism going in.
If this is the weirdest reason for Ross to be upset, he's going to get control of the company. Ross is now pulling for but if he doesn't get voting shares, he's not going to build it. Dude, he's going to get the shares. Like it's such a stretch to be bearish over that reason that I felt like Ross was reaching there a bit.
There were 5 things that he needed to show. I think he showed all of them. I actually think investors, and I've heard from some, come out of this conference call viewing Tesla dramatically different than the train wreck, and we've talked about it, that it felt like the last few months. And again, it goes back to finally there was an adult in the room.
But Dan, you're discounting the end of the call with Martin resigning, and you and I have been working with Martin for a long time, and he is the glue in management and shareholders and investors, and he continues to lose seasoned top executives during this really important transition, and I find that to be concerning. Despite what I do agree, the vision he laid out is one that we've invested in and hope happens, but it just seems like there's this talk and vision, and then there's this like reality we're seeing under it, which just doesn't look anything like the talk.
Yeah, and I think now it's
again, I think he's reaching, dude. Like, I get that the numbers were bad, but now he's saying it's still going to be bad and you don't believe Musk. If you don't believe Musk, you don't believe Musk. But the idea that you don't believe Musk because he doesn't have his voting shares yet, he's going to get that. Like it's just, again, it's just, yesterday was not the day to be bearish after that earnings call. You could be bearish way before it, which Ross was definitely bearish before it, but yesterday was not that day. All right, we got 8 seconds until the market opens. Let's see if I can get you guys some Amazon gift cards with these calls printing. Here we go. Thank you for being here. It's 9:30 a.m. The stock market is now open. $163 on Tesla, up 13%. $163 on Tesla. The Tesla calls I have are currently up 46%. So the 700% is down to 46%. But at least I can give away one gift card. Oh boy. So they aren't printing yet, but let's give it some time. Maybe this thing can pump to 170 and they print. But 13%. There you go. We're looking like we're 164. Are we going to 164? Are we going to 164? 163.9 right now. Wow, 164. 14% up, folks. 14% up right now. We're up 53% on the calls now, so we're making some progress here. Dude, 700% went to 50%. Oh my gosh. 13.5%. Wow, 164.3. Are we going to 165? Are we going to 165? The buy orders are coming in. The buy now. It's funny. Is institutional using retail as exit liquidity right now? Are they dumping some bags on retail, or are the institutions buying because they believe Elon? One or the other is happening, and we'll find out in a few months how it ends up playing out. But that's what we got. 164 right now on Tesla. By the way, every single bank downgraded the company today from the price target perspective. Bank of America upgraded them to 220. So Bank of America, out of all banks, is actually a bit more bullish. The rest of them are still bearish because the numbers, they just weren't good. The numbers just weren't good. All right, let's go to some other companies, and then we'll go back to Tesla. Tesla 163, S&P 506. We are green on the S&P. Rocket Lab, they had a successful rocket launch today. And so that one is up 1% right now. So congrats to Rocket Lab shareholders. Nice little launch today. Palantir falls right below 22 at 21.96, down 1.5%. It is still green for the day, but it's down. Uber, this is very interesting. We got to have a full podcast and discussion on this Uber versus Tesla thing, but Uber's literally only down because in the Tesla shareholder deck, they released what the Robotaxi app would look like. And look, I don't think they're replacing Uber anytime soon, but if Robotaxis become the de facto way to call for a cab, a cyber cab, as Elon calls it, you know, maybe Uber does have some competition coming up. Solar Edge is up 1.2%. NVIDIA is up 1.35%. Elon Musk says by the end of the year, they will have 85,000 H100s in their facilities, right, in Dojo. So it means that NVIDIA is going to have a lot more demand. Now that's probably priced into NVIDIA, but the street is excited for NVIDIA because, you know, the Tesla having a good earnings means that demand for GPUs and chips are likely not going away. CleanSpark down a little bit, 1.3%, still above $20. Enphase had a crappy earnings, but it does seem like they bottomed and their revenue guidance was higher than it's been over the past few quarters. They make microinverters for solar panels. They're only down 2%. I mean, it's basically unchanged since last week. They were down 12%. If anyone bought the dip, which shout out to Vitaly, I know he bought the dip at $101 after hours yesterday. You're up right now because honestly, the earnings weren't that bad. I mean, they sucked, but we all knew they were going to suck. They just didn't suck as much as people thought they were going to suck. And so Enphase recovering a little bit from the after hours lost yesterday. GM down a little bit right now. Raytheon and Lockheed Martin, they had a good earnings yesterday, but they're down. They're down a little bit, but they're down, but they had really good earnings. They beat on the top and bottom line. MicroStrategy down 3.46%. Robin at 1760. That's down a little bit. Let's look at crypto. Is Bitcoin down? Yeah, Bitcoin's down. So the reason why all the crypto stocks are down right now is because Bitcoin is down. Zocold says Uber announced they'll partner with Waymo to deliver Uber Eats in Phoenix. Uber may have competition, but it looks like Google will be their backup plan. That's interesting. You know what's also funny? Google invested in Uber in the very early days, or I think they were going to invest. If you watch that like Uber documentary on Netflix, so Uber and Netflix, Uber and Google have had a relationship for a very long time. The Tesla calls that I have are now down 33%. So stupid fucking calls, dude. Dumbass calls. Look at this, down 40%. When you're Derivamit, you go from being up 700% to being down 40%. And that's just the swings that it takes to be an equity investor in the derivatives market. It is what it is. It is what it is. At least for a moment, we were up 700%. At least for a moment. It is what it is. Bitcoin, right here, Bitcoin's down. That's why Coinbase is down. CleanSpark is down. All those guys are down. They had a good week, though, so nothing too crazy on that. Mag 7, everything's up except Amazon. NVIDIA's up. Google's up. Meta's up. Meta above $500. And Apple is down as well. We'll talk about Apple. They're having a couple of issues. Oh, by the way, I've been publicly bearish on the Vision Pro. I've been bearish on the Vision Pro since January. I don't hate it, but I just don't think it's useful. Yesterday, Apple came out and they said they were lowering their projections from 850,000 to 400,000 Vision Pros selling this year. They cut it in half, guys. They cut it in half. So, like, you know, when people say it's a dud, I mean, like, I think we got to take it more seriously. By the way, there was an article on 9to5Mac, which is a very respected Apple source that's been around for like 20 years. They said in an article I was reading this morning, there might not be a Vision Pro model in 2025. And you can't blame them. If you're only going to sell 400,000 units, which to Apple is nothing, it's like that's like pennies. Does it make sense to do the R&D? Because maybe the product category doesn't really have life. And I think that's what might end up happening, but we'll talk more about that. That's why Apple's down right now. Microsoft 409, Google 160. Wow, Google 160, back to that all-time high for Google as well. Amazon 179, NVIDIA 834, and Tesla still holding 11%. Still holding 11% on Tesla, so not bad. The Tesla is up right now. Bitcoin 65, Ethereum 32, PayPal 65, SoFi up 1%. SoFi up 1%. Not bad at all. 767. The SoFi calls are doing way better than the Tesla calls, and that's because the SoFi calls are leaps. Oh, wow. Holy shit. The SoFi calls are up 17%. Dude, for a second, they were up like, let me show you guys this. They were up like 50% for a second. Oh my. There we go. So I bought 5 more yesterday. So we're up 18% on these right now. Again, these are 1720 January 2026 call debit spreads. This is why I like leaps, dude. At the end of the day, I YOLO'd the short-term option for Tesla yesterday, but leaps give you time. They're mispriced. And if you have a thesis on a company, you have 18 months to 24 months for the thing to play out. And so people, you know, they get upset because they think leaps are too far out and there's not enough money there. There's plenty of money if you pick the right company and you give it time and you get a good price. I mean, we got these when SoFi was 680. Hopefully that was the bottom. We'll see after earnings. But I just don't understand why people buy monthly or weeklies. I will never understand why people do that. The gamble is fun. My $30 I lit on fire yesterday, that's fun. But there were 7,000 of those calls open, dude. The open interest, what 7,000 people thought a 185 strike on Tesla by this Friday was a good idea? Now, I thought it was a good idea because I'm derivative MIT and I can get 700% in 2 hours. That's why I thought of it. But these other people were just gambling. These other people were just fucking gambling. That was the problem. So we got SoFi here at 767, PayPal 64.98, S&P at 506, and then Snapchat is up at 11.47 right now. Meta here at 504. So not bad for SoFi. Really nice to see them breaking out a little bit. Hopefully after earnings, I think my number is $9.74. $9.74. That is my prediction. I think they pop to the upside. I'm using a bit of technicals and a bit of intuition and a bit of imagination to come up with that 974 number. 95% imagination, 5% Fibonacci and Bollinger Bands, but 95% imagination. 974. Honestly, the reason I'm saying 974 is because that's when I like almost double on my options. So I was like, okay, we get to 974, I make 100%. So let's go to 974. That's what I'm expecting after earnings. Let's try to get 974. And see if it happens. So that's what we got on SoFi. Alibaba had good earnings today. I mean, they missed on a couple metrics. They're up 1%. I think this company would be worth like $300 if they weren't in China because the fundamentals are just absolutely incredible. They have like the 200 billion market cap. They have 120 billion in cash. They have like 70% of the market cap in cash for a company as big as Alibaba. But China is a risk. Tesla now falling a little bit. It's up 9%, but it is falling. So it's not maintaining the pump as much as we wanted it to maintain the pump. But Tesla is dumping. The Tesla options I bought are now down 50%. There you go. We're down 50%. So we bet 30. We have 15 left. Anyway, so that's what we got on the world of Tesla, up 9% on the day. And then Palantir still trying to get to 22. Palantir right here, 21.97, up 1.52% on the day. Oh, where's Hood? Oh, by the way, we got an update on Hood. I got to talk about Hood. Here you go, 1770 on Hood. So Robinhood put out an update yesterday. I don't know if Q1 earnings are going to crush, but given that they put out this update publicly, I think Q1 earnings are going to crush, dude. Hopefully the macro is sustained for their earnings, because if we get a 10% pullback into earnings, we could fall to 14 and then maybe pump to 17 and then, still be in the same spot. But what Robinhood put out yesterday is just incredible. 1 million people have signed up to the gold credit card. It's not easy to get people to sign up for a new product, dude. It's just not easy. It's not easy to do that. 1 million people signed up. Now, a lot of these people signed up because they got referred from other people. You have to get 10 referrals to get that gold credit card. If you assume even 10% or 5% of the 1 million, let's be super conservative, are new gold subscribers, that's 50,000 new gold users. They got 60,000 new gold users in January, which if February, if they have that same rate, we're looking at 200 to 300,000 new gold subscribers in one quarter. For context, they only have 1.42 million gold subscribers. So that's almost 16% of the total number of subscribers added in 90 days. I mean, dude, like this thing can get pretty wonky if the numbers end up being what we think it could be. Now, why is this important? The offer has been compelling to consumers. It'll be a question on how much the credit card creates a strong lock-in effect. The credit card itself doesn't matter. What matters is if people start depositing more because of using the credit card and the Robinhood ecosystem. That's probably going to take about 12 months to play out, but we'll see the results relatively soon in the quarters, in terms of incremental deposit growth. And so if that happens, that's going to be very, very bullish for Robinhood. And I think the street is trying to figure out how to price that in into the stock. We saw it test $21. We saw it get there. It fell down as the macro fell down. It wouldn't surprise me on a good result for this to just burst through that number because we already got there once and there wasn't that much resistance when we got there. The question now is just, can we keep going? Clean Spark at 2084, up 0.62%. This Poet stock, that ticker symbol you mentioned, this is up 21%. Again, I know nothing about this. I didn't get a chance to do any research yesterday about these guys, but they're up 20%. So if anyone got into this, congrats. You were up 20% on this one. SoFi 762, Snowflake actually up a little bit, 2%. PayPal again 64.91, and then Coinbase and the crypto ones are down. Now Spotify also pumped 13% yesterday. They finally had not finally, but after like many quarters, they had an operating profit. So that's why the street got excited for Spotify. Do I think it's worth 60 billion? In my heart of hearts, no. I do think it's going to be a good bet over the next decade because they will eventually be the global audio leader if they're not already. There's just too much competition, which screws their margins. But if they figure that out, I think they're going to win. But I think initiating a position at 60 billion is a little tough. This thing was at $79. So if you got this thing last summer when it was, or on the way up, I think it was a good buy. At 60 billion right now, it's a little tough. Now, granted, if they really increase operating margins and profits explode, then yeah, there's a lot of room for it to run. But right now we will see, how that plays out and how they can navigate new deals with record labels. That's the big thing right there, to fix some of the problems they have when it comes to profitability. So that's the update on what's going on in the market. Let's preview Meta. We've got to talk about Meta. Meta is going to be this week after the bell, and we'll see what happens there. Snowflake launched an LLM. I think I heard about this. I think they did launch some new product. We'll look into that later, but I'm pretty sure they launched some new product. And we'll discuss more about them. Either it's an LLM or it's like an AIP type of product with an LLM. But we'll talk more about that as well. Okay, Meta. Let's talk about Meta. So what's going on in the world of Meta and why is Meta exciting right now? First of all, why is Meta important for the broader economy, even if you don't own Meta stock? I think can tank the market or pump the market this morning. Why? There are not that many major advertising players in the broader stock market besides Meta, Google, Trade Desk, and I mean, there's probably a couple other names that I'm not thinking about right now, but Meta and Google are really the horses in this race, right? Meta and Google determine if the economy is actually spending money. So if Meta misses on their numbers, then that means people aren't buying ads. If people aren't buying ads, that means there's not that much money coming into their business and they can't invest that money into marketing. Meta is the proxy for small businesses in particular. Forget the Chipotles and the Boeings of the world that are buying Facebook ads, but the local mom and pop shop that needs to target, the people within a 5-mile radius and they want to use some Facebook ads. If they're not spending, business is struggling, the consumer is struggling. Why do I think Meta is going to do good? There's a couple of AI reasons that I'll talk about in a second, but one of the main reasons is that the consumer is healthy. We've seen that through the earnings so far. The consumer is healthy, unemployment is low, people have jobs, and if that's the case, then consumers have money to spend, businesses have money to advertise. Oil, by the way, down another 0.59% this morning. WTI crude at $82, which is really good to see for oil. Hopefully that can keep going lower as well. So that's the first reason. The consumer is strong. I think Meta is going to do good on the advertising business. Number two, Zucks has been everywhere. Zuckerberg has been doing a ton of podcasts. This meme, I don't know if you guys saw this meme. He was on Instagram Live announcing their AI product. He doesn't have a beard, but he does have the chain. He's been wearing this chain recently, and then people put a beard on him. And dude, he looks like a Chad. He looks like an absolute Chad. He looks great. Tesla right now at 160, up 11%. So I think his story needs to be examined. How he was the most hated man on planet Earth. And he turned into an absolute stud right now. So I think him being so public with everything he's been doing from a media perspective also signals that Meta is in a strong place to be. Just you wouldn't be that public if things were going bad. Finally, the AI story to Meta is just beginning. Meta just released Llama 3. which has a lot of new parameters on their model. They're saying Llama 3 is better than GPT-4. That's questionable, but that's what they're saying. And they're open sourcing it. They're doing what OpenAI is not doing. They are building a developer ecosystem that is vast and large. They've also integrated Meta AI into Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook in beta. So you're going to see a lot better targeted advertising if you start searching for things inside of their own proprietary AI chatbot. And you're going to see them start to print more money off the advertising revenue. So from a from a basic AI perspective, it seems like Meta is on the right track, and I think they're going to crush on these earnings. The question is going to become, are the numbers enough for estimates or for analysts to get them to be above the 50% pump that they're already at right now, because they basically pump 50%, and we will see if that plays out. Crossroads says Llama is almost as good as ChatGPT. It's very close. Yep. You could also argue it's better than Gemini from a perspective. I've heard people say that as well. And so that's the exciting thing about Meta. Palantir 21.95, Tesla 160. Let's check on those options. Those options are still down 50%. So we'll still do a giveaway eventually on the channel. I'm figuring out. Maybe we'll just do like a random number generator one day, and we'll give away the potential gains, which would have been $200 if this printed. But yeah, they're not going to come from the options, unfortunately. Did he say went from the most hated to most hot? No, I said it went from the most hated to the most Chad, but I guess Chad is a synonym for hot. So yes, basically most hated to most hot. In general, I think Meta is going to crush these earnings this week, and it's going to be interesting. Also, TikTok ban. Thank you, DGAZ, for this in the chat. TikTok's done. It's banned. Joe Biden signed a $95 billion package yesterday, giving money to Israel, Ukraine, and officially forcing the CCP to divest from their ownership stake of TikTok, which means TikTok, that's another reason why Meta's up right now, and Snapchat's a little green. Probably another reason why Google's green as well. Snapchat now just turning red, Google at 160. If TikTok gets banned, meaning if China doesn't sell their stake in TikTok and an American company overtakes it, TikTok's out in 12 months. So you got 12 more months, Robinhood at 1780, to look through your TikTok, 1783, in order to keep it going. I don't know how this is going to play out. TikTok said they're going to challenge this on the First Amendment in the Supreme Court, and they're going to try to take it to court and not let this go through. But if it does go through, that means millions of people will be using Instagram Reels versus TikToks to watch their funny videos. And that means more advertising dollars for Meta at the end of the day. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. But that is also another thing that has happened when it comes to TikTok. I was really surprised the Senate passed that bill. I mean, I think it was like 89-13 or something like that, 89-11. That was the vote. I did not expect them to pass it. Honestly, I thought they wouldn't pass it, but they ended up passing it. And I think they ended up passing it because at the end of the day, they're like, you know what? We got it. Well, honestly, they had to give money to Ukraine and Israel. I mean, that was their main reason. A lot of Democrats did not want to ban TikTok, from my understanding, but they definitely believed that we need to give aid. And so that's how it happened. Palantir at 22. There you go. Robinhood at 1780. Palantir at 22. Let's see if we can hold this $22 pump. If for those that are here that are just joining, I talked about Palantir in the first 20 minutes of the stream. That Bloomberg article is something everyone has to read. I'm going to do a video about it today. It'll come out in a couple hours, but that Bloomberg article was phenomenal. It reinforced my conviction into Palantir. And I just think that their go-to-market strategy, Tesla right now, 162, is going to be one of the best go-to-market strategies on the planet as that continues to. Let's hear from Gene Munster. He believes the Tesla pump will fade, but eventually it will be back in a few years. Let's get his perspectives, and then we'll keep going from there. Oh, Nate in the chat says Snowflake launches a product called Arctic, which is their own LLM. All right, so I'll pull that up while you guys are watching this, and then we'll talk about Snowflake's LLM. That's probably why they're up 2% right now as well.
More on Tesla's results. Let's bring in Fast Money friend Gene Munster of Deepwater Asset Management. Gene, it's great to have you here. What are your thoughts here? We know the conference call hasn't kicked off and we only just have the release, so still a lot of questions percolating, but what's top of your mind here?
Well, I think what it's come down to is there's a question, is Tesla smoke and mirrors or is it substance? And I think the results this quarter are going to give evidence for the smoke and mirrors camp to think that this is just another car company. And I think that there is really little to be gained. I think one thing to be gained is that margins are declining, but they're not plummeting. They actually did a little bit better than expectations, still on the decline, but a little better than expectations. So they're going to survive. They got $26 billion in cash, but this ultimately comes down to is, do you believe? If you believe that the future is going to be hybrid cars and it's going to take a long time, 20 years to get to full electrification, stock's not going anywhere. If you believe that electrification, despite all of its troubles now, are going to accelerate for multiple reasons, and you believe in the concept of autonomy and robotaxi and that they're actually going to get this out, Tesla's probably the best position. They are the best positioned company to deliver on that future around autonomy and electrification. It's a big market, $2.5 trillion market. The smartphone market, $600 billion. And so I think that's what this ultimately comes down to. As the panel has said, stock, it's going to move based on what happens on the earnings call at this point, some commentary. I still think the street numbers are coming down for 2024 on delivery. So I think that could pressure the stock tomorrow. But ultimately, this company is going to survive to see this next generation vehicle and to see FSD and see the rising tide of electrification. So I'm still a shareholder. I'm still optimistic. And I think that I just believe in what they're doing from an innovation standpoint.
Do you think?
So, I mean, he's right on that. He does believe the stock will fade down. The stock could probably fade down a little bit. At 163 right now, the options are now down 6%. They were down 50%. So we'll see how it plays out. We'll give it another hour and see what happens to Tesla. But I think Gene is right. The stock could come back down, but if you believe in electrification, you believe in FSD, then that is the future of the company at the end of the day. Okay, so here's the Snowflake news. Snowflake launches a new LLM, Arctic, the most open enterprise-grade large language model. As you can see right here, Arctic, they're comparing it. It's better than Llama. It's better than Databricks. And it's better than a couple other of these LLMs. Okay, my initial thoughts on this. I'm very confused why the hell an enterprise software data platform is releasing an LLM. And the reason I'm saying that is because Palantir doesn't have an LLM. Palantir has a platform that connects LLMs to your data. That's where the value is. An LLM is not where the value is. Or the value is already accrued to the Anthropics and the Geminis and the Llamas and the GPTs of the world. But I'm very confused, and this is a very naive take. Maybe I've got to read a lot more and understand this. Why they're launching an LLM? Why they think people will use Snowflake's LLM over GPT, and how they're really going to make money off of that. Because I don't know if that's where the money is. I think the money's more in the AI infrastructure. As Adam says, another effing LLM for Palantir to extract actual value from. Adam, I'm going to have to steal that. I'm going to have to steal that as my tweet. That's my tweet, Adam. I'm going to have to steal that. Yeah, this is very interesting. So Sridhar Ramaswamy, CEO, says, this is a watershed moment for Snowflake with our AI research team innovating at the forefront of AI. Okay, so he believes it's going to be a very important thing. Let's read a little bit more. By delivering industry-leading intelligence and efficiency in a truly open way to the AI community, we are furthering the frontiers of what open source AI can do. Our research with Arctic will significantly enhance our capability to deliver reliable, efficient AI to our customers. I don't get it. I don't. Maybe I don't understand it enough, but I don't understand why Arctic LM comments on the news from AI experts. Snowflake Arctic is poised to drive significant outcomes that extend our strategic partnership. We are excited to see Snowflake help enterprises harness the power of open source models. Why do enterprises need more open source models? That's what I'm confused about. Like this, dude, I'm not going to lie. This kind of feels like desperation. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm reading it so wrong. And if there's any data science people in the chat that are like, Amit, you don't get it. You're totally wrong on this. But from my naive understanding of this, it feels like, dude, why do they have 7 quotes from these big AI companies, Hugging Face, Perplexity, Microsoft, Reka? Like, why are you pumping it with 17 different quotes? Where's the product? Like, why is this so important? Like, this doesn't feel like it's the next evolution of AI at all. And it doesn't feel like it's actually providing more value to users outside of just giving them another LLM. Because of customization, so they're allowing you to customize the LLM. Is that why it's exciting? And is that why you can't customize GPT? I don't know if I buy that, dude. The LLM market is not exciting. The reason OpenAI is probably worth $1 quadrillion and it's not overvalued is because they won. And there's a very small chance they're going to lose, dude. They won. They were here first. They figured it out. And shout out to Google for letting them do that, because Google should have done it. But they won. Every other LLM, 2213 on Palantir, is a derivative of GPG, Robinhood 1786. And as a result of that, this Arctic thing feels like it might be left in the cold in Antarctica if it doesn't provide that much value for their clients at the end of the day. Now, again, maybe I'm reading this wrong. I don't want to poo-poo it yet. I don't want to say it's bad just because I like Palantir over Snowflake. Maybe I just don't understand it. But from first understanding, I don't know why we need another LLM. I really don't. Maybe there has to be I'm gonna hit up some data science people today in my community. I'm gonna be like, yo, is this like legit? Like, why is it like, are you excited for this? You think this is important? Or is this not important? That was a good joke, dude. There should be like so many laughing emojis in the chat, dude. Fucking Wong is saying crickets. Like that was good. That was A class. That's why you guys are here, dude. You don't get this anywhere else. This is a product. I have the fucking crystal meth of humor on the market open. You know, you could try to resell it. You can't get it from anywhere else. It's here. That's why you're here. That's why you're here. Robinhood 1785, Palantir 2210, Snowflake 154, S&P 506. Market's still green. It really is funny that Uber's down. The market's really thinking this robo-taxi network is going to crush Uber. And it's just funny to see Uber down because Uber's in 70 countries. Uber is not going anywhere. Like, in my opinion, Uber is going to be fine. But the market's forward-looking, and from a forward-looking perspective, if robo-taxis win, PayPal right now 65 as well, SoFi 759, maybe the market's a little scared about the future of what could happen with robo-taxis. Robinhood 1782, Tesla 163. Let's check on our Tesla options. We're down 20%. I'm not going to say I'm out of the league yet because if Tesla pumps later in the day, I'm still going to be winning. So I'm going to give it another hour. We'll see where Tesla goes, and then I'll tweet that I'm cooked on Twitter. I will publicly acknowledge that I got cooked, but we'll see if that happens. We'll see if that happens. Smokey says your delivery is a little off. Goodness gracious, dude. You would think I get a little bit of love from you guys, but nope. It's just critique. It's never compliment. It's critique. Amit, please discuss Oracle moving its headquarters to closer to healthcare industry and their partnership with Palantir and the potential here. Yeah, I saw someone tweet about this morning. I thought this was interesting. So Oracle moved their headquarters. I'm trying to find the tweet. Oracle. Oh yeah, here it is. So Oracle is moving to Nashville, it looks like, to further, what is this? Oracle is moving its world headquarters from Austin to Nashville to be closer to a major healthcare epicenter. Ah, interesting. Interesting here. So Oracle's literally moving their entire headquarters just to be able to get closer to the healthcare industry. Nashville, from my understanding, is a big player when it comes to healthcare. The company has been making a major push into the healthcare sector after its $28 billion acquisition of Cerner. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Wow, moving your entire headquarters to Nashville, which is to be closer to a major healthcare epicenter, is a pretty big deal, dude. From moving from Texas, especially because Texas has been so friendly to businesses, to Nashville. Now, why is this important for Palantir investors? At the end of the day, Palantir is dominating when it comes to healthcare. 20% of beds. We had the partnership with Tampa Bay, Cleveland Clinic. We're getting more partnerships by the day when it comes to healthcare. I think in Q2 or Q1, they're going to talk about healthcare as one of the main platforms of AIP. Oracle and Palantir's partnership is significant because Oracle doesn't partner with data analytics companies, just like that. And we also know Oracle tried to buy Palantir 7 years ago. So that partnership is significant. Palantir's role in healthcare is massively significant. The whole NHS, right? We're managing their healthcare. And now Oracle is moving to Nashville just to further grow, because Oracle doesn't grow that much, right? They're a mature company. So they're probably trying to find new growth avenues in the healthcare industry. I would imagine there's a ton of synergy between Oracle, Palantir, and the broader healthcare industry, given this move by Oracle. It makes a lot of sense. And we could see how that ultimately results in more potential upside revenue just from the healthcare industry for Palantir. Remember, Shyam Sankar did say Palantir is the most undervalued healthcare startup. And he said that healthcare is a $4 trillion market back in 2022. So they've definitely been pretty bullish in the context of healthcare for a long time. Oh, this is a good point. Dreaming Big says, just hold till Friday. Imagine PCE comes lower than expected. That's true. Maybe I hold these calls till Friday and PCE comes in lower, which it's going to come in lower, but probably not that much lower. And maybe the calls fucking print, dude. Maybe the last day we get a little bit of a print. We'll see. Palantir here, $21.99, Snowflake 153. So Snowflake's pumping off of this news. Again, I'll try to hit up some people, and on the market close, I'll try to talk a little bit better about this and see what I can gather. But I don't know if this is the most important thing And I don't know if the street cares. I mean, it's up 2%. You would think launching your own LLM is going to be super, super big. Street doesn't care that much, but it is up. And maybe it creates more growth, and the street gets excited about that. Meta 500, Robin at 1773, and Tesla right now still at 162 for the day. Enphase, is Enphase green? Is Enphase green? Wow, Enphase is green, 115. That's incredible, dude. Enphase is actually green, 115. I mean, Enphase, let me pull up the results real quick just to look at it. Enphase, they're guiding more revenue than they did from last quarter, which is why people are thinking it bottomed. Now, the crazy thing about Enphase's earnings, this is the tough part. They're not profitable anymore. They actually had a loss of 16 million, dude. This is a company that doesn't have profitability issues and hasn't had profitability issues for like the last 3 years. So that was surprising, seeing them lose 16 million bucks. The reason it's up though right now is because they're guiding. So they did 263 million, right? They're guiding for 300 million next quarter. At the end of the day, we know the growth is going to be there. Interest rates are just screwing them over right now. But as rates come down, which maybe happens later in the year, the market prices that in and buys them as they look forward. The profitability thing, I think the market doesn't care about, because this is not a trend from Enphase. I don't think it's going to be a trend from Enphase. We all know Enphase is a stellar company when it comes to profitability, even though they have hardware margins at 46.8%, which have gone down a little bit from 47. But the street's up because at the end of the day, Enphase is going to continue growing, and it looks like they've bottomed on the revenue guidance, which is bullish for Enphase at the end of the day. However, if we don't get rate cuts till September and October, I don't know if they're going to be able to substantially increase revenue. But as long as they increase it, maybe that's all the street cares about at the end of the day. Where's SMCI? Where's SMCI? SMCI got hit last week, 782. So it's down from 1100, but it's back up to 782. Palantir above 22. NVIDIA 827. NVIDIA's up a little bit. And then Tesla trying to make a run back at 164. People are buying it. People are buying at the end of the day. TJ's covered calls expire out of the money if Enphase does not get to 125. So TJ makes $50,000 in premium if Enphase does not get to 125. It's at 115. I don't think it's going to get to 125 by Friday. And if it doesn't, then he should be good. But if it does, the scary, dude, I'm learning when you're doing weekly options, because I've been selling some options every Friday, that's like a Super Bowl, because the market makers are trying to screw you on the long side and on the short side, because it's Friday and the options expire. And then you get all these like weird events that just happen to happen on a Friday. Geopolitical, PCE news, inflation, all this stuff. And so Fridays, now I understand why options expire on Friday, right? It's like that is the day where like you reset and things happen, and you're working against market makers. So you have to be really sure on the strategy if you're selling or buying weeklies, because Fridays are a roller coaster, dude. You can't just slack off on Fridays. You take a break from your portfolio if you have active trades, and it might go south, right? So it's one of those things to definitely pay attention to a bit more. Let's get this guy on. We have this guy named Barry Bannister. I think I've heard him on CNBC before. He says we are recovering. Let's get his perspective on where he thinks the market's going, and then we'll keep going from there. If the stock is trading 24/7, this won't be as exciting. That's true. If the stock market is trading 24/7, one could argue it's going to be more exciting, but one could argue, honestly, I don't want that to happen. People have been asking me, hey, do you want it? You're a finance junkie. Yeah, I'm a stock market junkie. I love it. But I want to go to sleep and not worry. Like I want to wake up. At the end of the day, this still feels like a job, and it should feel like a job. There's some structure and routine. If it's 24/7, dude, it's a little bit too much. Oh, wow. Tesla's 165. Holy crap. Hold on. Before I play this video, let's go back to that. Tesla, 48 million shares in volume, 165. Where's my options? Where's my fucking options? We're up 6% on the options, folks. We're up 6%. Okay, we're up a little bit on the options. All right, 15%, dude. They added they added $65 billion in market cap. 65 billion, dude. 65 billion. Dennis says, imagine getting a 20% alert at 4 a.m. Yeah, man. I would be like, what the dude? Like, as soon as you wake up, you're like, I got to check the market. Like, it's just, I already check the market when I wake up to see what's happening in the pre-market. Now, if you have to check the actual market itself, it's just too much. Too much. Options have a pinning on the last day of expirations. Yep, that's correct, Joseph. I've heard that term before as well. You are 100% correct on that. There's a startup that's trying to do 24/7 market hours. Yeah, it's if you're talking about the same one, it's by Steve Cohen's fund. I think it's called like 24X or something. He called it. So they're trying to campaign for that. I personally wouldn't like it, but we'll see if it ends up happening. Tesla 165. It's actually pumping. It's actually pumping. Rest in peace to those sold at 140, dude. Selling at 140, thinking it was going to go to 130. Look, you can't blame people who. I'm saying rest in peace, in a hyperbolic way, because you can't say it was a horrible sell if you sold at 140, because it looked like things were going bad. We might get to 166. But also, it's like if you're long-term Tesla, dude, selling at 140 is just like. I don't have a lot of Tesla, but if I had a lot of Tesla, I wouldn't selling at 140. It's a little. At this point, you got to go down with the ship, right? You got to go down with the ship. Like the time to sell was like 180. If it's at 140, you go down with the ship. You fucking DCA at that point. 140 was a horrible sell. Yeah, I think it was too much. 165.83. Oh, there we go. Hold on. We're 10 cents away. Come on. Give us 166. We need a little bit more buys to come in and it'll just bust. There we go. We had it for, there we go. 166. All right. 166. Now we need 167 on the way to 170. I wonder where the volume's coming in. 53 million shares, dude. I don't think this is institutional. I don't think any of the institutions were like, 5% margins. Let's buy Tesla. Like, I don't think that's happening. I think it's retail. Tesla has a lot of retail, a lot of wealthy retail. There's a lot of people who have decent amount of money in their net worth because of Tesla. Maybe they're buying more Tesla today. Maybe this is what they needed to see to buy the dip. And we know that retail's always been ahead of institutional when it comes to Tesla. Maybe retail's going to be ahead again. And 140 was the bottom. Could you imagine if 140 was the bottom again and this thing balloons to 400 over the next 2 years? Could you imagine? It's Kathy. I don't think it's Kathy. I think Kathy's not going to buy today. Kathy's been buying so much. I think she's sitting on her profits today. I don't think she's buying. 166. We got 30 cents, dude. We got 30 cents, 40 cents to 170. Oh, by the way, I was researching last night, and let me know what you guys think in the chat. And Vitaly, let me know what you think in the chat as well. I think that you know about this. Most institutions don't buy after hours, right? So the pump we got last night wasn't institutional. From my understanding, most like JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, they're not buying a stock after hours. 167. 160 freaking 7. So the pump we saw after hours, 10%, was also more of retail versus institutional. My options are up 100%, folks. We're up 100%. We're up 100%. It's not up 700%, but we doubled our money in 24 hours, dude. We doubled our money, 106. We doubled our money in 100% in 24 hours. This is what I'm talking about, dude. This is what we're doing this for. We're not doing this for 5%. We're doing this for the big gains. 120% on the options. 126. Come on, Tesla. 170. Let's fucking do this, dude. Let's go to Elon's Mars. Let's go to the planet. 167. 167. Let's go to 170. Everyone's saying sell? Nope. We're going all the way. We're going all the way. We are not selling. We are going to 170, bro. We're not selling this. 15% up and we sell? No way. We're going. We are on a roller coaster to the upside and we are not falling down yet. Look at the green. Look at these candles, dude. Look at these freaking candles. These candles are ridiculous, dude. There's like 7 green candles in a row. The slight sell-off can't even get 168. Do we see 168? Do we see 10 cents away? 40 cents away. All right, it's selling off a little bit. Selling off a little bit. There's got to be some people FOMOing in right now. Come on, FOMO. Come on, FOMO. Get the job done. Get us to 170, dude. Get us to 170. You know what's so funny? Someone already quote tweeted me and he said that the Ivy has been crushed. If this thing actually pumps, I can quote tweet him back and say, not so fast. Don't bet against Derivamit that quickly, dude. You got to give it a second. You better not delete that tweet if this thing gets to 170, dude. I want to clap back at him. He's a good friend. It's Chris, Data-Driven Investing. I got to clap back at him. Let's see. Come on, dude. 170. Get us 170. Get us 170. Everyone, someone says everyone in the chat FOMO. And no, the 13 under 60 people, you don't FOMO. Let the other schmucks across the planet FOMO. Okay? None of you guys FOMO. Let the other schmucks FOMO because this thing's eventually going to come back down to 150. So let everyone else FOMO. You guys don't FOMO. Vitaly says 170 is major resistance. Vitaly, why do you gotta be like that, dude? Like, why are you being a bear? Like why do you gotta do this? Like, can we just like Can we just make some money here today? Can we just please make some money? 166. Oh, well, we just went down from 167. Oh boy. 700% is in a Mitt's head. Well, let's see. Let's see if we get there, dude. 166.7. Who has a big position in Tesla? Who has a big position? I know you guys do have position in Tesla, but who, like, put in the chat if you actually have a decent, like, I would say 10% or more of your portfolio in Tesla. Put in the chat. 10% or more of your portfolio. We already know Vitaly, but who legit owns this stock? Like, you own the stock to the point where, like, when Elon says something, you either cringe or you get excited. Cringe because the stock goes down, excited because he's gonna sell you this dream about robo-taxis. Who actually owns it? Robinhood 1782. We're seeing some momentum on Robinhood, not bad. And then Meta 500, Tesla 166, and then where's Palantir? 2210. 2210. Greg has 300 shares. Wow, at $33. Hold on. So 300 shares at $33. That means you spent 10 grand, and your shares are currently worth 49 grand. That's incredible. You're up basically 50 grand. You're up 5x. That's amazing. That's amazing. Not bad at all. And it seems like you got those pretty damn cheap a long time ago. 8% of someone's Roth for Merv. So Mookie has 2,100 shares. John is 80% Tesla. Alex, 15% of my portfolio. NB17, 20% of my portfolio. A Tang has 110% with leverage. Holy shit, dude. Okay, so we got some bullish people here on Tesla. Thomas, 12%. Ali, 65%. Brian, 100 shares. Jeremy, 30%. Okay, let's see if this thing can keep pumping, dude. I need to give away. Well, if we make $100, I'll give that away at least. Damn, we went up from 100% to up 26%. The stock market is so, like, dude, they'll just, like, it'll be there one day and next second it'll be, nope. That's why if you do options, you got to do the leaps. You got to do the leaps. Either you're selling the option on the weekly or you're buying on the yearly. Buying on the weekly or monthly, unless you're gambling like I did yesterday. I don't understand how people do that, dude. I like legit. Maybe it's just how I was raised. And when I mean raised, I mean Vitaly and Chris's kind of philosophy around options, but I don't get it. I don't get how people do it. It's too much stress and it's too little chance of winning. Like, I saw this YouTube channel, this guy who has an options channel, and he said he's quitting YouTube because he blew up his options channel. I'm not going to say the name of the channel, but, like, he says he's quitting YouTube because he blew up and then I went through all the videos and the dude's showing people how to, buy the weekly and monthly options. And I'm like, no shit, you blew up your, like, $30,000 account. You're betting that XYZ stock will be XYZ price in, like, 24 days. Like, of course you blew up the account. And it's people like that give a bad rap to the options community because that's just degenerate. And this guy was, like, serious about, like, building a lifestyle off options. I'm like, dude, like, these are the YouTube channels you stay away from. Like, you can't, that's not how you win in this game. It's already so hard to make money off options. So, gotta be the leaps. Gotta be the leaps. Elf is pumping right now. Where's Elf? Elf sold off last week because of the Ulta Beauty thing. Wow, 180. Holy crap. Now, okay, contrary to what I just said, if when Elf went to 160 and you bought some June 180 strikes, you're doing well on Elf, even though that is a short-term option. But yeah, it makes sense that Elf is pumping primarily because Ulta Beauty's numbers, I don't think significantly affect Elf. I mean, they do affect Elf, but Ulta's down and Elf is up. That's incredible. Ulta has a social media marketing approach to beauty that is fundamentally different. And I know people might think that's not a moat, but their go-to-market and the way they do TikTok and Instagram, it is pretty damn impressive, dude. They have not hundreds of millions, but I think tens of millions of followers. And it's easy to sell when you have that many followers. So I think that's why that's why it's up. Why is Enphase pumping? What was the guidance? The guidance was 30 million above their current revenue, which is good because they're guiding ahead. Enphase now at 116. They aren't profitable. They missed the profit. That'll probably change in a few quarters, but they guided ahead of what the street thought they would guide at. Which is good, which means maybe this quarter has bottomed when it comes to revenues. Real quick, let me just do a quick plug real quick. Speaking of Elf and the makeup and the beauty stuff, again, I did launch a VC fund and we were very serious about launching a VC fund. Me and Derek last night, we spent an hour and a half going through 10 different pitch decks. If you have a deck You have a startup idea. You have a founder. You have a friend someone who's raising money. Email us, amitderekfund@gmail.com. We're working on the actual official domain name in a couple weeks. We went through decks last night. The reason I'm bringing this up, I just got a deck this morning that is crushing it from a social media perspective in terms of their go-to-market. Speaking of Elf and how they're crushing it, and it's one of the best decks I've got in the past 2 weeks. So that one actually looks like a company we might end up investing in. It just looks like a really cool company, right? So please, you will get a response. You're not going to get ghosted. I've been a founder before. I know how hard it is to raise money, how hard it is to get VCs to respond to you. This will be the easiest VC response in your life. You will get a response in like 2 weeks, and you'll know. So please make sure to email your decks or tell someone about this fund if you are raising money, because we're serious, dude. We are really looking to invest. And there's no minimum check average. It depends on the deal. If the deal is amazing, given Derek's position in life, the money really is not the concern. The concern is finding really good quality startup ideas. And so please make sure to email us. Okay, Tesla right here, 165, 14% right now, 14.4% on Tesla. Still trying to see if we can get to 167. Elf here at 181, Enphase at 115, SMCI 780, Snowflake 152, Palantir 2193, Palantir falling off a little bit, and then Robinhood just turned red. So Robinhood got sold off a little bit, probably because Bitcoin's red. Where is Bitcoin? Oh, by the way, let's talk about Bitcoin ETF inflows. Bitcoin back at 66,000. It was at 65,000. Now it's at 66,000. Ahad says, Amit, did you distribute the Audia money yet? Yes, that was done last month. If you did invest, log into WeFunder, and you will have 50% of your money in WeFunder waiting for you from Audia. Okay, so let's look at the inflows when it comes to the Bitcoin ETF. So last night was actually a pretty good day for the ETFs. Grayscale sold 66.9 million, not the best, but they sold. It's better than like 400 million that they were selling last week. BlackRock brought in 37 million. Fidelity brought in 4 million. Bitwise bought 480 Bitcoin yesterday. There's only 450 mined every single day. If we have less selling and you've got one ETF buying up the entire amount of Bitcoin that are being mined every single day, and Bitwise is not BlackRock, right? They're not the biggest ETF. I mean, dude, this might actually become really exciting. ARK got 33 million in inflows. Overall, it was a net 31 million day of inflows when it comes to Bitcoin. So very exciting for Bitcoin. The asset itself has not pumped as much as we wanted it to pump over the past couple of weeks after the halving event, but it has gone up from 60,000. The geopolitical instability has calmed down a little bit. Looks like it's more of a risk-on environment if oil keeps going down. So I think Bitcoin is set up to do well. The miners are benefiting. Look at CleanSpark up 3% of the day. The reason I think the retail and institutions are buying the miners is because they understand what will happen. Marathon as well, up 3%. When Bitcoin does explode, these companies are going to go crazy. The question becomes, when is Bitcoin actually going to explode? And I think that's what everyone's waiting on, when that supply shock ends up playing out. So that's what we have in the update on Bitcoin. Kyle says, is it true that Bitcoin ETFs are approved to start trading in Hong Kong at the end of the month? You are correct on this, Kyle. Bitcoin ETFs are approved. Let me pull up that. I have this bookmarked right here. So yeah, April 30th. Hashkey Capital is reporting April 30th. So in 1 week, that's going to bring about 5 billion of inflows when it comes to the Bitcoin ETF. Tesla right now, 164, up 14%. So that's something important. And then another thing, Harvest Fund's Bitcoin ETF will begin trading on 30% with a 0% fee. That is in Hong Kong, and that's a $230 billion asset management company. So, if they raise even a couple $1 billion, 0% fee, they're going to get a lot of retail investors in Hong Kong accessing Bitcoin, which is going to be very exciting. I think the Bitcoin story is going to play out, dude. It's going to take a little bit of time, but I definitely think it is going to play out. And it's going to be pretty exciting, when it ends up playing out as well. Okay. I think that's it for me. We got Tesla here at 164. One last look at the options, then we'll do word of the day. The options are, we're not down or we're not up. The options are like they're at the price at the same price. So if we sold them right now, we would break even. So we're 0% up or down on the options. And I will update by the market close, 3:45 p.m. where the options end up going. Amit Nath in the chat. So we got someone with my name. That's incredible. Shout out to Amit Nath. Where am I based? I am in the USA, and I'm in New Jersey. So I'm close to New York. We're going to do a New York meetup one day. I think in the summer. I'm not going anywhere in the summer. I'm going to India in October, but in the summer, I think we should host a New York meetup And we should have a little, anyone who's in New York, maybe there's 20, 30 people here. We can all like go to a restaurant or something like that. So we'll do some type of meetup in New York. Definitely not going to Europe in the summer. I thought I was going to the UK, but that's not happening. So in New York, we'll do something, and it'll be super fun. I know a bunch of you guys are in the New York area, so that's good. David says, Amit, is that Buddha in the background? Yes. My mom decorated this background. You see this? Oh, by the way, this thing right here, this Robin Hood whiskey. So I thought we should never open this because if we open this, then like it'll go bad. But I was told like alcohol doesn't go bad, or like whiskey doesn't go bad, right? So maybe if they explode by the end of the year, we'll just drink this live and we'll celebrate if Robin Hood actually pulls this off, because they still got a lot of work to do. And we can still keep it for a long time. Because I was thinking, let's keep it as a memento. But at the end of the day, the bottle is a memento, not the liquor in it, right? So even though it looks really cool, it looks like some magic potion, dude. Doesn't it look so fucking cool? So maybe we'll drink this by the end of the year and we'll just keep the bottle as a memento. But yeah, this whole background is my mom. She designed this whole thing, which is way better than just the brick walls before. Those didn't look the best. Amit, what's the email for the VC fund? amitderekfund@gmail.com. We have a better name. We had a good name and I bought it yesterday, but then a couple hours later, we're like, that's not that good of a name. So I got to buy another name, but we have a couple ideas for the name, and then it'll be a more official email. But yeah, email your ideas, dude. What I am learning right now as a young VC is that decks are draining to go through, because you're trying to understand the business model, the opportunity, the market, and then you ultimately have to conclude, would you actually invest? And at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. Like, this is why VCs look at like 500 decks a month and maybe invest in one if they're lucky. And so when you get a good deal, you really harp at the opportunity. Which this morning, dude, I think we got our first. It matches everything we're looking for. It's not a tech company, but it is a pretty cool deal. And so if you guys have ideas, send them, dude. Send them. I want this community to be the place where if people, like, if you're in this community, maybe you don't have a startup, but you have a friend who has a big, ambitious idea that can't find funding, but because you watch the stream every day, how cool would it be if we could fund their idea because you watch the market open, right? That's another reason Derek is so excited about this, because he just thinks the community aspect of it is really cool. And community, ironically, is how you build a really big VC fund. Like, think of Jason Calacanis, who's one of the biggest VCs, Tesla right now, 164. He was doing a podcast back in 2010 about venture capital. And because of that podcast, he invested in Uber. He invested in Robinhood. He invested in Calm.com, which isn't as big as Uber and Robinhood, but still, I mean, he put 25,000 into Uber. It turned into 115 million. Like, you have to build your network to find these deals. And so we are open to literally any deal. Just email and reach out and tell people that you know to reach out as well. Okay, cool. I think that's pretty much it. So Vici says, don't get drunk and pull a Meet Kevin and go driving around New Jersey. Dude, I've only got pulled over once for speeding, and I was doing like 35 and a 25. It was the cop, I think, was like I think he was bored, to be honest. There was no reason to like pull me over on that one, but he didn't give me a ticket because I never get pulled over. And as I say this, I'm probably gonna get pulled over right now. That's probably gonna happen now, but I don't get pulled over, and the cop, and so he didn't give me a ticket because my record was clean. So I've been pretty good when it comes to the driving, even though my sister thinks I drive like a maniac. I've been pretty damn good. Okay, word of the day. Oh boy, what the hell is this? This one's gonna actually be a mispronunciation of the day. What the fuck is this, dude? Gallimaufry. 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 Here we go.
Gallimaufry. Gallimaufry.
Okay, so Gallimaufry.
Gallimaufry.
Not too off. I said Gallimaufry. I just messed up on the It was on the versus oo. That's what I did on the vowel there.
Gallimaufry.
A hodgepodge, confused melody, jumble. Gallimaufry is basically gibberish. The artist studio was a gallimaufry of colorful paints, brushes, and unfinished canvases. I don't think we're gonna forget this word. This is a good one, and it's easy. It's easy to remember. It's just like a mess. Walking through the crowded market, he couldn't help but notice the gallimaufry of sights, sounds, and smells that surrounded him. That's a decent word. It's a decent word. Gallimaufry. That's a fake word. No, it's a real word. Gallimaufry. Gallimaufry. Here we go. So if Tesla ends up going back to 140, it would be a gallimaufry. But that earnings call was not a gallimaufry. By the way, shout out to the Tesla execs that didn't say anything stupid on that earnings call. I mean, they just stuck to the script. I think Elon had a gun to their head, making sure they don't say anything dumb. Because I think Elon walked into that call. Look, I know he doesn't care about anything, but I think he walked into that call. A, he wants to get paid. B, the stock's down 40%. I think at some level he was like, let's just not fuck this up, dude. Let's not have this be a Gallimaufry. Because if we can just survive this one, things will get better. The numbers will get better. But let's just survive this one. And that's what Elon was able to do. Elon had a gun to his own head. Oh, but what do you think of the IR chief leaving? I think he's not leaving because he's fired. People are saying he's fired. I think he was a good IR investor relations guy. He was handpicked by Elon. I think he's leaving because it's been 7 years, right? And he's probably tired. So I think that's different from like Drew Baglino leaving, who was much more senior level exec. I think the guy's probably just tired and he's moving on. So I didn't read too much into that one. Okay, that's it for me. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you guys at 3:45 p.m. for the market close. Daily Palantir will be out at 6 p.m. every day, 6 p.m. That's when the episode drops. We'll discuss this boot camps article from Bloomberg. Really, really good article. And I thought it was super, super intriguing to understand. Twitter is in the chat. If you have a startup idea, DM me there. Message the deck, amitderekfund@gmail.com. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'll see you guys. And by the way, for the people who won the gift card, so Tom Brady, make sure you DM me from last week. And then Ryan, you already DM me. I saw you. I'll be getting you the gift card in like a few hours. Yeah, make sure you just DM me and we'll keep going from there. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you 3:45 p.m. for the market close. Bye, everyone.